Hey guys, it's Luke with Motor Minds, and today I am reviewing the 2018 Subaru Crosstrek. Now, this isn't any ordinary Crosstrek. We got this Crosstrek from World Subaru in Tinton Falls, New Jersey, and what they've done is they have installed their own lift kit as well as various other options to this car, and you can buy it from the dealership with a dealership warranty. Now, if you've seen the review that we've done on the lifted Subaru Forester, you may know a bit about what is up with this whole lift kit and modification thing that World Subaru does. But if you haven't seen that video, you might want to check it out, and we're going to walk through everything they've done to this Crosstrek to make it one hell of a machine. So let's talk about the styling. The new 2018 Crosstrek is really one awesome looking car, at least in my opinion. With this lift kit, it looks really, really good. Now, it's based on the Impreza. It's basically a lifted Impreza that you can use for more off-road capability and whatnot. And I think the general Impreza, it's a handsome car, but it definitely has that quirky Subaru design that definitely prioritizes function over form. It's definitely not a pretty car or super aggressive. It kind of looks pretty plain Jane in its normal form. Not unoffensive styling, but nothing that stands out. However, what World Subaru did with the whole lift kit and all the other graphics packages that they've done on this car make it stand out so much more than any other Crosstrek you'll see on the road. To start, the first thing you'll notice are these gold orange wheels that you get. They look freaking awesome, and they're wrapped with BF Goodrich KO2 off-road tires that are insane. They grip so well. They're pretty much the same tires that we had on that Forester that we reviewed, but they're super knobby. They grip really, really well. And overall, it's just an awesome tire to use in any off-road excursion. I've been driving around in a huge snowstorm. They've been calling it the bomb cyclone. And we got like a foot of snow, absolutely ridiculous stuff. And I'm just plowing through it in this car with these tires, and it works brilliantly. Now, this car also has a 1.5-inch lift kit from LP Aventure, and oh my God, does it look awesome. It raises the overall ground clearance of this car to 10.2 inches. That is a lot. This car normally has 8.7 inches of ground clearance, but with the lift, brings it up to 10.2. And that's insane. That's a lot of ground clearance for what originally started off as an Impreza. You know, I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. And it means that you can take this car on some trails and it will be able to conquer a lot of stuff that you'll be able to throw at it. Now, adding on to the styling of this car, they have an orange graphics package that puts orange decals on the side view mirrors, on the grille, obviously on the wheels, and in other various places on the car that make it pop, especially with the paint that's on it. It really contrasts well with this darker paint color to really give this car one hell of an appearance. No one really knows what it is. Like, I saw a bunch of people drive by and give me weird looks like, what on earth is that car? Like, so many people are kind of taken back by it because they don't know what to think. This is a really cool looking car, and I definitely got a lot of excited looks when reviewing this car, taking it out, doing the photo shoots and all that. Now let's talk about the powertrain of the 2018 Crosstrek. It still has a 2-liter flat 4 engine, but instead of producing 148 horsepower, it produces a whopping 152 horsepower. And you might be thinking, that's not really that much more, and you're right, it really is not. However, torque does come in earlier in the rev range, which makes the car feel a bit quicker. You immediately notice that when you first hit the gas. This car gets up and goes a lot quicker than the previous Crosstrek did. Now, you immediately hit the gas and you get a much more aggressive throttle tip, and we noticed that in the Forester too. It makes the car feel pretty quick at lower speeds. However, once you are up to speed and you hit the gas, you can definitely tell that it's not a fast car. I mean, it really isn't. And they do that mainly to prioritize fuel economy. This has Subaru's symmetrical 4-wheel drive system, and it still gets 27 city, 33 highway. Now that's with a 4-wheel drive car. That's actually really, really impressive. Subaru's been known for making great 4-wheel drive systems, and this one is no exception. Now, that power from the engine is sent through a CVT transmission, which also has paddle shifters and a manual shift mode. Now, this CVT is actually really, really smooth. It's a CVT that I would actually want to have in my own car because it kind of mimics an automatic transmission in a way. It'll rev up, but it'll very quickly bring the engine back down to steady, normal RPMs when need be. Now, it's a very refined transmission too, and when the engine's up at higher RPMs, it doesn't really tend to drone like you would expect from a CVT. This car doesn't do that as much, which is always good. And it tends to get the engine in the power band when you want it to be in the power band, when you need that power. So overall, very good transmission. The paddles are actually really, really impressive, especially for this class. I mean, they're obviously nothing that you would see in a sports car or supercar, but they are really, really responsive for the class. You pull a paddle, immediately downshifts. Like, you can just pull paddles and immediately get the gear that you want. And what's really cool is on the gear select here, you can pull it into manual mode where you get full control over the paddles. But let's say you're driving along and you immediately are like, hey, I want third gear. You can immediately flick it into third gear using the paddles without having to put it in that manual mode. And once you let off the gas again, the transmission will resume automatic driving conditions. Now, that is awesome. It makes it really easy to just grab a gear that you want without really having to think about it, you know? Very, very cool feature there. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the Crosstrek's interior and overall comfort and features. So, I think this Crosstrek is a huge step forward over the old one. To start, materials quality in here is vastly improved. You have a soft touch dash, you have a really nice updated looking center display. It's only 6.5 inches, but the graphics are very clear and nice. I would like to see a bigger screen though. However, this isn't the fully loaded Crosstrek. This is only the premium, and you can definitely spec this car up a bit more. Now, looking ahead, you have a very nice leather wrap steering wheel that also has orange stitching in it, which matches really well with the orange wheels and other decals on the outside of the car. Now, it's nice and thick, feels great. Now, the gauge cluster, it's easy to read. A lot of modern cars, they'll overdo the gauge cluster. They'll have so many different functions and features going on in the center display, and Subaru hasn't done that. You have a tachometer, you have speedometer, and then you have a teeny little display in the middle for fuel and your trip computer, and that's about it. Now, what they've done is they've actually taken a lot of the other features that you would expect to see in the gauge cluster and stuck it in a little display on top of the infotainment screen that's set back further in the dashboard. That shows you your time, your outside temperature, fuel economy, all sorts of other stuff that you can select that is previewed at that screen, and it's really easy to see, big clear graphics, and I really, really like it. Now, the controls overall are really, really good. You have not too many controls. You have big knobs for volume and tune. You have some preset buttons for phone, radio, apps, stuff like that. And then the climate controls, this doesn't have automatic climate control. This is manual climate control in this specific car, but they're big and easy to use. Definitely good for if you're wearing gloves or anything like that. And the infotainment screen logic is pretty decent overall. I do wish the response times were a little bit better for inputs on the infotainment screen, but other than that, I think it's pretty decent overall. Now, the overall style of this interior is a lot better than the previous Crosstrek. You have really cool aluminum accents around the center vents. Now, I do wish the stitching on the dashboard was contrast stitching as well, and that would make it look a whole lot better. I think it would make the dashboard pop a bit more. It's kind of a sea of black, but overall, I think it's cool. You have some carbon fiber inlays here. They're obviously not real, but I think that they look really good, and overall, it just really makes this car look a bit more utilitarian, just having all of those features that really bring out the overall appeal of the interior. For Subaru drivers, you're going to want a utilitarian interior because they're going to be taking it out off-roading, going out to hiking trails, camping, stuff like that. And this interior really appeals to that because it's still built robustly, but it feels a lot more refined than the previous Crosstrek did. Like, you still have that leather-wrapped wheel, you still have the soft-touch dash, but overall, you just get a feeling of quality in here. Like, just flicking the turn signal feels really, really nice. It feels high quality. It doesn't feel like a jiggly little piece of plastic. It feels really well screwed together and really well put together. Now, there are some things that I don't necessarily like about the interior. The center thing here, the center stack, actually not the center stack, the center tunnel here has very cheap materials. I mean, you kind of push on it, and I mean, it's kind of chintzy, and overall the shift lever just feels a little bit flimsy, but overall, I mean, it's not that bad. Everything you see and touch up here on the dashboard is really nice overall. Now, the ride in this car is exceptional. Jeez, is it good. It rides a lot better than a lot of luxury cars I've driven. A lot of that's probably attributed to the 1.5-inch lift, but I mean, this thing soaks up bumps. You can hit potholes, manhole covers, like right there, manhole cover. You hardly even feel it. It's really, really tied down, well put together ride. I just think it's really comfortable, and it's complemented by these really comfortable seats. These aren't even leather seats, these are cloth seats. They have a really cool pattern. They have this mesh material in the middle, complemented by black and gray fabric with orange stitching, and a really cool pattern as well. I think these seats look awesome. Now, they aren't power adjustable in this model, and I mean, overall, you can get better seats in upper level trims, but overall, I think these seats are really comfortable for base seats. They're really supportive. They're actually pretty plush. I do wish I had adjustable lumbar support. That would be my only complaint. They do seem to sag a little bit in the middle where your lumbar is, but other than that, I think these are really good seats. I actually have enough thigh support for once in a car like this. And rear seat room's pretty decent too. They definitely increase that, and the trunk has pretty good cargo volume as well. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the overall appeal of the Crosstrek. You're going to buy this car mainly because you want something that is still very efficient and very usable on a daily basis, but it can still go on some pretty decent off-road trails, and you can do a lot of outdoorsy adventurous stuff with it. That's why they built it over the regular Impreza. Now, this car with the lift kit and all the other stuff that you get from World Subaru just makes it, in my opinion, that much better. If you're going to go out and get a Crosstrek for off-road purposes, why not just pay the little extra money and get this kit installed from World Subaru where it's under warranty, and it just makes this car a beast. I was going through some serious snow. It plows right through it. You feel super secure all the time when you're driving this car. And I mean, it's just a real solid package. Yeah, it's not gonna handle or drive ridiculously well. I mean, it has a lot of on-center play in the steering. I mean, not play, but like a bit of deadness in the steering, mainly because of these big tires and whatnot. But just driving around, you feel really comfortable. It's nice and quiet. You hardly even hear those big tires. I think this package just makes a lot of sense for anyone that will actually want to use their Crosstrek in any off-road situation. I think it just makes perfect sense. Let's talk a little bit about the Crosstrek's personality. I think this car doesn't really have that much of a personality, to be brutally honest, in stock form. I mean, Subarus, to me personally, they've always seemed a bit more like the car that you just buy because it's bulletproof, it'll never break, and all of that attributes to a lack of character with the car. And of course, 99.99% of buyers don't care. They want a car that's really good, and this car is really good. Now, when you add the lift kit to it and all the other accessories that World Subaru's put on this car, such as the orange trim and those nice sick wheels, beefy tires, and all of that gives this car a really cool persona. It's not just any Crosstrek that you're going to see on the road. You hop in this thing, you turn the key, and you feel like you're driving a beast. You stare down on other motorists because it actually rides pretty high, and man, do you get looks. The orange pops so well, and it's so cool being able to drive around in what initially started off life as an Impreza and be able to just plow through snow, go through stuff that this car normally wouldn't be able to go through. And I think all of that just makes this car really cool. If you pull up and park in a parking lot in this car, people are going to be asking you, oh my God, what car is that? What are you driving? Yada, 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 you know? I mean, you're going to get attention in this thing. Now, this package overall is something that I would highly recommend. And the thing that's great is that World Subaru will customize this package. Let's say you want this on a fully loaded Crosstrek with everything. They'll be able to do that. Now, because of that, I'm not going to tell you how much it costs because it's variable per what each customer is going to spec on the car, what features they want from the kit, yada, yada, yada. I mean, the list goes on and on. But the MSRP for this car is about $28,000 without the kit, that is. Now, I just think adding the kit makes this car a whole lot better, as you've heard me say 1,000 times. I mean, I've had a blast filming this thing. Yeah, it was like 15 degrees out, the wind was blustery, and I was utterly miserable while filming the exterior shots for this car. My feet still haven't warmed up, and I've been in the car for about 25 minutes. Yeah, that's life. But I mean, this car made it worthwhile. I had an absolute blast. I really hope you guys enjoyed this review. I hope you found it informative and engaging. Again, thanks a bunch to World Subaru. Can't thank them enough. They've lent us so many cars. They've been super supportive and really, really welcoming. If you are looking for a Subaru, you live in the tri-state area, New Jersey, by the shore, definitely go to them. They'll cut you a great deal, and they've been they're the most genuine dealership I've ever experienced. Shane Henderson, the GM there, is an awesome dude, and we're really excited to continue to work with them in the future. Now, if you want to browse our channel, check out some other reviews, I definitely recommend it. We have an awesome review on the Forester. We have a Forester XT review up, and we also have that lifted Forester, and I think you guys will love it. Now, if you want, press that subscribe button, and it will keep you updated on our future reviews, and hopefully you guys will tune in and watch our next video.
You've got the energy, you've got the